Hey friends, today I'm doing my August TBR, which is going to include my TBR game drawing and the Trope-ical Readathon. So before we get started, we're going to look at my board again so you can kind of see where everything's at, and then we'll do our first drawing.
Okay, I figured before we started today, I could maybe remind you of some of the board places, because I realize now that I can't always see what's going on. So we have the top card of any deck, a prompt from the prompt jar. The animal squares are the ones that the characters come with. Then we have these blue squares, which are more randomized. So this one is a random number generator. There's also a few over here. Cat choice is pretty random, and just rolling a d20 and taking that card. Then we have more prompt and animal cards on this side, and then the two bosses, a big boss, which I roll a d6, and a mini boss, which I roll a d4. So here's where we're starting this month. I did not finish all my books, so I do have to move 2 back. I'm gonna move romance back. I did not finish my romance prompt. I also did not finish Frankenstein for my mystery thriller horror prompt. So this is where we're going to be starting.
So right off the bat, we're starting with a mini monster for the classics, which is intimidating because classics are not always my favorite genre. But let's go ahead and figure out what mini monster I'm going to be doing. I got the name mini monster, so I can use like my initials in the title. I can spell out my name. Let me figure this out. Almost did something here. I was going to spell my first name, E-R-I-N, but I couldn't find any books or authors that started with N. So I did E-R-I, and then I used my middle initial. So we're going to start with East of Eden by John Steinbeck. This is one of my books to read before I turn 40. And I don't have this one. The dot means I got to get it from the library. I know nothing about this, so we're gonna move on. For R, I'm gonna do Romeo and Juliet. Also have to get this from the library. Obviously William Shakespeare. I've read a few of his plays. I always do the No Fear Shakespeare versions, and I love those. I'm really excited to read Romeo and Juliet because I feel like it's the one that I obviously hear of the most, but haven't read yet. I is for Iliad. This one intimidates me, so I do actually have this one. This is the copy I have. I think I just got it from like a library sale a long time ago. I don't know why this intimidates me so much. I've always loved like Greek mythology and the story of Troy. I've read a lot of retellings. But yeah, the epic poetry aspect of this just kind of makes me uneasy. I'm hoping I enjoy it, and once I get into it, I'll be a little bit less nervous about it. Okay, and since I couldn't finish spelling my name, I ended up going with my middle initial, which is D, and I'm going to read The Death of the Heart by Elizabeth Bowen, another book to read before I turn 40, and another one I got to get from the library. Again, I don't know much about this one. It was just kind of one that was on the list of books to read, classics to read. It's set in the middle of a war and follows a young girl who moves to live with her brother and falls in love with one of her brother's friends, I think. And one of the summaries says it's all kind of in that mood of we don't know how long we have, war is happening, people are dying, so everybody's very reflective and just kind of aware of the fact that they may not have a lot of time left. And I'm interested to see how that influences their actions. I can't say that I'm like super psyched about this book because I don't think it's, again, my usual genre, but I think it could be a good read. another mini monster, but this one is graphic novel, so maybe that can help me balance out some of these classics. The monster I got was animalistic, so I have to draw find two graphic novels with animals on the front, which is actually kind of perfect because of a book I recently picked up. So the first graphic novel I'm going to read is A Spoon Too Short. This follows Dirk Gently. He's a detective who loves cats and pizza, and he's caught up in a mystery involving poaching. I think this actually may be part of a series, and I'm kind of skipping into the middle, but that's okay. Next one is one I literally just bought a few days ago, and that is the Tea Dragon Society. I'm gonna count these dragons. It's a much smaller book than I thought, but the cover has a beautiful little picnic scene, and in this we follow a girl who discovers a rare tea dragon and just kind of gets immersed in that world. I'm super excited about this because I've heard it's adorable. Okay, we're already on book number 7 somehow. Let's take a look at the rule. I need to draw a fantasy prompt, and we get the jungle path splits 3 ways. You need a map. So I'm going to find one of my fantasy books that has a map, and I actually think I have one of mine. Hero of Ages. Why not throw a chunky one on there? Brandon Sanderson. This is the 3rd book in Mistborn Era 1. It would be nice to finish off that trilogy. I put Elantris on my last 2 TBRs, but I haven't got to it. But I did read Warbreaker, and I can finish this off as well. Okay, I rolled choice next, and you've seen this guy before. I didn't get to do last month. I didn't actually do as much reading as I thought because I was traveling and got to see family, but that means I did not get to this, and I would really love to. I think my boyfriend and I are going to read it together. It's going to be the first book I read, so definitely going to get to it this month, for sure. If you remember in the beginning, I had to put my little mystery thriller guy back a step because I didn't read Frankenstein, and then he moved right back up, and I still have Frankenstein. Frankenstein is also going back on the list, and yeah. Last up in my official TBR drawing, I had NonFiction, which is nice because that poor little guy hasn't moved very often. Here is my prompt. A tasty berry and honey drink quenches your thirst. Read a happy book. NonFiction happy book. Let me think. All right, I found the perfect one. I am going to read Random Illustrated Facts by Mike Lowry. It is exactly what it sounds like. A book of little facts. I love the cute drawings in this, and I haven't ever read through it. So this will be a nice, easy read to balance things out along with those graphic novels, and a happy read. I don't know if the facts are happy, but the pictures definitely are. Here's my TBR game stack, along with 5 classics that I have to get from the library. Now let's look at the Trope-ical Readathon. We're going for it. I am on Team Fantasy. Let's take just a second to look at the prompt board. There are also 2 team prompts and a team book that I'm going to talk about towards the end, but I'm going to start from the top. We start with the absent parent trope, and I'm going to fit one in off my TBR game, Hero of Ages. Ben's been living with her brother on the street in the first book for quite a while, so she definitely has that absent parent trope going on here. The second prompt is a reread, and I'm going to be going with Goose Girl by Shannon Hale. These are books I read in college. They're some of my favorite middle grades. She has quite a collection, but this one is a retelling of the Goose Girl story, and this version is beautifully written, so I'm excited to read it again. Prompt number 3 is Found Family, and for that I'm picking up the second book in the Becky Chambers series. This is A Closed and Common Orbit. I know it follows some of the same characters as the first book, A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, but I think the focus is very different. The first book was so beautiful. I read it the very first book of this year. It's still at the top of the list for this year, so I'm interested to see if book 2 ends up in my top 10 as well. Okay, next up we have Coming of Age. I've actually put this book in this spot last time I did this readathon and just didn't get to it, which is silly because it's a graphic novel. But this is Anya's Ghost by Vera Brosgol, and it follows Anya, who's moved to a new school, not really getting along, not really figuring things out, and then she falls down a well and befriends a ghost, which is, you know, not really how she saw middle school going, but a 500 plus page book. Dune for sure. Dune has like 605, this version does, so it's another crossover book from my own game, and that really is going to make things go a little bit smoother. Okay, the next prompt is something written before 2000, so I'm just going to put one of those classics from my mini monster. I don't know which one, but any of those 4 classics. Let's just say officially The Death of a Heart. We'll put that one in this spot. Definitely written before 2000. I think 1938. For mixed media, you can choose an audiobook or an ebook. I'm going to choose The Dating Dare. It's my NetGalley arc that, again, I didn't get to last month. I think it actually comes out in August, so I'd really love to be able to get that read and reviewed. So we're going to put that in this spot. Okay, next up is Fire on the Cover, and this is honestly one I'm probably not going to get to, but I'm going to put Empire of Storm by Sarah J. Maas. This is the next book in the Throne of Glass series. I read The Throne of Glass. I think I burned through those books and then just never picked up the next one for some reason. So it's been several years. I still vaguely remember where we were at in the last one. I'm hoping I can just pick this up if I do actually get to it, but it's a series I need to finish. The next prompt is Historical Figures, and I struggled with this one, but I did find one of my nonfictions. It's a little strange, not kind of what I was picturing, but this is Escape, the story of the great Houdini. And it's got big print, so I think I'm counting this on the easier side of the reads. Read in 24 Hours is the next one up, and I'm going to put one of the graphic novels from my TBR novels. I always say novels. I'm going to put one of the graphic novels from my TBR game, and that is A Spoon Too Short. I'm going to stick this one in because I actually have another spot for my other graphic novel that I drew. This one I can definitely read in 24 hours, and I will be happy to do so. The next prompt calls for multiple points of views, and I'm going to hopefully progress in another series with 2 Dark Reigns. This is the 3rd book. I think there are 4 books in this series. It starts with One Dark Throne. I really loved the first book. I enjoyed the second book as well. I feel like it didn't really have that middle book syndrome. I thought it was just as good. And so I'm hoping the 3rd book carries that same feel through. You have 3 sisters with different powers. Only one can survive and take the throne. And I feel like it's just unique enough from that kind of royals trope that I've really enjoyed it. To be fair though, I do enjoy a royals trope even if it's super cliche, but I feel like this one is unique. Okay, genre you don't normally read. I have a lot of classics, and I do read classics when they come up in my game, but it's certainly not a genre that I feel as comfortable with as fantasy, graphic novels, all those other things. So I'm going to put one of those. Let's go with the Iliad, the one from my own game that I can carry over and get points. A retelling, I found this one on my shelf, Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. It's been on my shelf forever. It is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I'm excited for it. I haven't really heard good or bad reviews about it, so I guess we'll just see. But Beauty and the Beast is one of my favorite fairy tales, so hopefully it'll hold up. We have 3 more prompts left, and those are the Team Challenge prompts. I'm on Team Fantasy, and our group book is She Who Became the Sun. I've seen this cover around a lot. It's gorgeous. I don't know anything about the book, but I'm excited to get to this one. If I can, I think it's a newer release, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to find a copy of it, but this is the group book for the fantasy team, and then we have 2 prompts. The first one is a book involving dragons. I'm betting you can guess what I'm going to put there. The Tea Dragon Society. It fits perfectly, it's small, it's achievable. And the last prompt is a book with a prophecy. Once again, trying to use this readathon to further some of my series, I'm going to be picking up The Magician. It is by Michael Scott. This is book 2 in a series about twins who are prophesized to save the world. However, at the end of the first book, their quest is not starting out super smooth, and they seem still very much in the dark because they didn't even know that magic existed. I'm going to put the prompts up one last time and kind of show the books that I'm reading. Here we go in no particular order and with quite a few books missing because I gotta go to the library. Here is, oh gosh, my stack. Achievable. It is not, I'll be lucky if I get through my 10, but I don't know. I'm excited nonetheless. Let me know if you're doing any readathons. I feel like August is one of those months that always has a few good ones, so let me know if you're doing any and what you're excited to read in August. And I will see you all later. Bye, guys.